Ah, we finally made it out. Now we... Damn. What is it?
怎么了？
I can't sense Fuhua anywhere.
消失了。
Herrscher of
是真旅
sentience?
者吗？
No luck.
也没有任何踪迹。
We might have come
他
too
们多半
late.
是来晚了。
Kevin
虽
shouldn't
然凯
kill
文应当不会
Fuhua,
对班长投下
but
杀手，但
let's go see
走吧
Kevin.
我们去见凯文。
Who's there?
谁？
Without warning, a strange woman appeared before their eyes. She sat peacefully among the ruins of the moon, as though it was not a desolate planet, but a sunny pasture. As though she had grown accustomed to such lonely times over countless days and nights. Hello,
你们好
everyone.
呀，
Brave girls
勇
are
敢的
the
少女
best.
永远都最棒啊！
You.
你
She tilted her head, brought an index finger to her lips, and like an innocent child, she smiled brightly. I'm sure you're all very confused,
你们的心中一
and
定有
that's
很多
why
困
I'm
惑，
here.
而解答困惑，就是我会出现在这里的理由。
I'll
我
answer
会逐一
each of your
解答你的疑
questions.
问。
Don't worry,
别担心，
my sire won't
我的
interrupt.
尊主不会在此刻前来打扰。
I'd love to
我
help
很
you
愿意
out.
帮助大家，
So before that,
所以
please
在
rest
此之
a
前
while here.
请安心的在这里休息一下吧。
This
奇
person...
怪，这个人
So we
终于正式
finally
见面了。
meet. If I'm not
如果我没有猜
mistaken,
错，
your hair,
你就是
the
圣痕计划的始
initiator
作
of
俑者
Project
吕
Stigma.
兔吧？
Wow, our first meeting was
之前
hasty,
的初见那么仓
yet
促
you，still remember me.
想不到牙医还记得
That
我，
warms my heart.
真开心。不过，
As May already
既然牙医已
knows
经
who
认
I
识我
am,
了，
I'll cut
那么
my
我原本
flowery
准备好的自我
introduction
介绍
short.
也就只能尽量从简了。
As she said so, she jumped down from where she perched. Yes,
没错，
I'm codenamed Hair
我在世
within
界
World
省的干部
Serpent,
代号是雨
and I'm
兔，
in charge of Project
负责的项
Stigma.
目是圣痕计
As
划，
for my name, is
而至于名
Mislin
字，则是米斯特林。
Mislin
米斯特林
Shariak.
沙尼亚，
Shariak?
沙尼亚的。
Yes, but I'm not a human. I'm a crystal of the
不过我
Shariak
并非人
stigma.
类，而是沙尼亚特圣痕的一种结晶。
Ah, you don't seem to know what a
什
stigma
么是圣
crystal
痕的结
is.
晶？各位似乎也不是很清楚呢。
Let's not
不过别
rush
急
things. As you
大家
came from
远道而
afar,
来，
I
想
assume
必
you
还没有
haven't
见
seen
过
the
这
final
中间
crater
坑之
yet.
中的风景吧？我们
Let's
边走
talk
边
while
聊，
we walk, shall we?
好不好？
This. Right. You're
你们很在
all
意那位福
concerned
华的
about
安危，
Fuhua's safety,
没
right?
错吧？
Don't worry,
请放心，
Sire wouldn't want to
尊
hurt
主并
her,
没有伤害
only
她的意思，
temporarily making
只
her
是暂
unable
时
to
剥夺了
fight.
她的战斗能力而已。
Before we talk about
在聊到
Sire,
尊主之
where
前
were we?
我们在说什么来着？
You said you were a
你说自己
crystal of
是
the
沙尼亚
Shariat
特圣痕的一种
stigma.
结晶。
All right.
啊，
Thank you,
是的
Branya.
谢谢你 ，Brania。好，
Anyway,
总
let's
之
begin with who I am.
我们就从我
Crystal
的
is
身份
no
开始讲起
metaphor.
吧。结晶的说法并非比喻，
I'm not human,
我不是人
but a
类，
brand new species
而
brought
是
to
圣
this
痕计
world
划
by
会
the
对
Project
世界所
Stigma.
带来的全
To
新
borrow
过
a
程。
classical term,
这样一个
I'm
古
a
典的词汇，
form.
你们可以将我这类存在称为理型。
Maybe you met the
各位在之
enemy
前的迷
similar
宫
to
中，
me in
或
the
许遭遇过一位
previous
外表与我
mazes.
相似的敌
They're
人。
seeds of ideas. artificial life temporarily staying in an incomplete state. Since they're not yet matured into forms, they tend to be hostile, which is why they attacked you while you were there. After all, Project Sigma is not yet complete. Even Sigmata themselves need some tuning. Easy for you to say, but if we take it literally, the purpose of Project Sigma is to create something like you, an existence between humans and Stigmata. That's right. I expected no less from you, but as a product of Project Sigma, we're more a means than an end. What do you mean? We're a vehicle for civilization, just like humanity. Though maybe that's too abstract. Let me explain with an example. As they approached each other, a strange conversation ran through the minds of all three. Before Project Sigma is completed, there is a chance for humanity to put an end to it and find a better alternative. This is absurd. It's like trying to teach ants on a plane to prove the Poincaré conjecture. What? The person that brought me into this world doesn't know about Poincaré. And why compare yourself to an ant when you've inherited knowledge and wisdom from humans? Humanity can't overcome anything. Neither can we. This is the only thing they've taught me. The idea you inherited has been through a lot, but this conversation has proved humanity can break away from fate, and so can we. Before Project Sigma is completed, there is a chance for humanity to put an end to it and find a better alternative. Are they talking in the spiritual world? Not so much talking as repeating. Yeah, they're only seeds of idea. They aren't capable of creating new ideas. Just like, oh, I'll save this example for later. Brania hates a cliffhanger. But I hate to spill the tea before it's time. Then why don't you tell me where these sounds are coming from? Even though we've never met, you're more reasonable. Unsurprising, since we both worked for World Serpent before. These voices are collected from people's dreams. Yes, the same people that Project Sigma has already absorbed. And since you're so interested, I'll show you some more, yeah? Humanity will eventually perish. Mantis, divine keys, all struggles are but an allergy before the coffin lid falls on us all. But civilization won't die. Like Sire said, this is the initial purpose of Project Sigma. You know the fire in London that took tens of thousands of lives? That was the last memory I inherited from the culprit. Don't leave me with that memory. I understand the pain, or rather, it's why I'm here. Please accept Project Sigma and face your sins with me. You must fill the cracks of your soul with your own blood and tears. It's not hypocrisy, but putting your soul to rest. This is getting really creepy. But about the fire, Bronya remembers there being a fire in London, but should have been hundreds of years ago. That's right. For Project Sigma, the information it can gather isn't limited to the present. All history and culture, so long as it's part of human civilization, can nourish the stigma. You should be familiar with that, right? She looked at Bronya as she spoke. What she meant was obvious. Strange. She seems to have some kind of feeling towards the Herrscher of reason. You might have collected fragments of consciousness, but there's still something that's confused me from the start. Why would Project Sigma be used like this to fight finality? Huh, you misunderstood, May. Project Sigma is not a way to fight finality. The end it can reach can be described as embracing and transcending finality. Embracing? You've heard this somewhere before, May. Since you fight against Honkai, you must wish to know where finality comes from, huh? Sire will want to tell you about this himself, but it wouldn't hurt to tell you a little bit beforehand. You mean, World Serpent knows where the Herrscher of finality comes from? Absolutely. After all, we're all successors to the moth. But to tell this tale, we'll have to go somewhere else. Try to keep up. It has formed a cluster of ideas over generations and can no longer be stripped away. Yes, when a civilization clusters, it blurs the boundaries between individuals. The collective's mind becomes its brain, and the collective's will becomes its limb. But histories and memories of tens of millions will give birth to new thinking. Humanity is an intriguing species. Don't be surprised. That's the true form, the complete us, the pinnacle of evolution, and a new life. Human knowledge is but a sort of poetry. Their minds always belong to one time and will never achieve what they truly want. But we're also a poem of theirs. You can't despise your creator, or you've forgotten your roots. An essential necessity, whose only counterpart in language is a rule. What I'm saying is humans can only think and communicate in language, and that's their weakness. Then what makes us different? Were we not their language and concept before birth? What are you talking about? Does a program bear any resemblance to the zeros and ones that form it? No matter who makes an argument here, no one will ever debate, for everyone agrees. Nonsense! Who agrees with you? We're not a whole, and you're delusional. Whatever, our job is to gather memories for a purpose, and you see, you weren't debating, you're stating your opinion. Enough! What's your problem? We only need to grasp their experiences, not behave like them. Must you crow in the morning because you find roosters pretty? Klein, what happened? Luckily, it's been foreseen. The master terminal can still monitor and report the status of every facility in the sanctuary without a problem, but at a much lower accuracy and efficiency. Without a problem? But with a problem. The master terminal isn't just this machine we see. The wires connected to it, similar to nerve endings, have spread out over the underground of New Atra. Is it not functioning properly because of a bad wire somewhere? Yes, and apparently it's near the sanctuary. I'll go check on it. Thank you. You can start by going around the perimeter of the sanctuary. If you spot any anomaly, sync it with me on the mobile terminal and I'll handle it. Welcome to the final crater. If I waited you here, could I have welcomed you with this line?
是不是就可以用这样的台词来欢迎你们了呢？
This is the stage where generations of civilization fought for their fate.
而殊死搏斗的舞台，
Humanity failed over and over. The cycle went on. Innumerable dissimilar wills created similar fates,
创造出大
and
同
they all
小异的
ended
命运，
here.
最终纷纷定格于此。
Kiana Kaslana,
Kaslana,
Branya Zajic,
Bronya Zajic,
Raiden May. How lucky and sad of you to be Hershers that are free from the
可以不要
samsara.
后悔，这是多么幸运而又悲伤的事啊！
Samsara.
后悔，
Yes, the endless cycle of death and rebirth
世
of
界的
this
循环
world.
往复，
Haven't you garnered info on it?
你们不也搜集到了一些信息吗？
If someone hadn't cut the thread of fate 50,000 years ago, this cycle would have continued on Earth.
还会不断的在地球上演。
Even though the thread is broken, as long as humans can live together with Honkai, imaginary energy will continue to flow into the cocoon of finality and catalyze the birth of Herschel finality. In that case, if we destroy the cocoon of finality, World Serpent wants to do the same, but that's impossible, Kiana. After all, if you want to see the cocoon of finality, you probably need to have the power of finality. Especially for you,
对
Kiana.
于你而言， Kiana，
That means you need to become the Herrscher of
你自己要
finality.
成为中央律者。
But how is that possible?
那怎么可能呢？
Discussing finality is like
这就
discussing
像是在
death.
讨论死亡。
No one
没有
has
人
come
能
back
从死
from
后的
death.
世界回来。
We can't discuss what
我们
dying
无法
feels
讨论
like.
死亡本身的体验究竟是什么。
If we
但如
use
果
this
使用这个
metaphor,
比喻，
then what the world serpent is doing
世界
is
神所做的
basically
事
redefining death.
就是重新定义死亡。
But on a more serious note, my statements about death only serve
我
to
刚才那
prove
些
my
关于死亡的
arrogance.
说法，也不过是一种自以为是的傲慢罢了。虽然我
Although
的确
I'm
能在迷
capable
雾
of
里现实
treading
的
the
相信
boundary
行走，
between dream and reality,
但是我并
I'm
不具备
incapable
超
of
越时间
witnessing
与空
truth
间，
beyond space and
见证
time.
全部真实的能力。就像这月
Like
球
the
上
wreckage of
那化为
finality
普
that
通
has
岩石的
turned
中
into
原残
moon
骸，
rocks, it will not awaken
它因为
again
尊
due to
主
sire and
乃至你们
everything
背
you
负的一
shoulder.
切而不再苏醒。而我能够 从
And
广袤
I
的圣
wouldn't
恒
have
空间中
been
脱
able
身，
to escape from the vast
才会出
stigma
现在此
space
时此
and
地。
appear before you if it weren't
也
for a
多
path
亏
paved by my
一位前
senior.
辈为我铺就的道路。前
Senior?
辈，是
Yes,
啊，
and an irredeemable one at that. Thinking of
一位
something,
十恶不赦的前辈。
Hare stared at Branya and let out a low sigh. Branya
更在
means
意
to
的
ask something
可能是
else.
另一件事。
You said the
你说
statue
那类
like
似
great
史上的巨大
finality
中
would
烟，
never
是因
awaken
为凯
because
文
of
和我们背
everything
负的东
Kevin
西
and
而
we
不再苏
shoulder.
醒。
What does it mean?
这是什么意思？如果
If
说
your
各位是大
anchor
海中的
points
锚
in the
点，
sea,
那
then
么
Project
金主背后的
Sigma
圣痕
stands
计
for
划
the broad
就代
sky.
表着这片广袤的天空。你们
You're
脚
down
踏
to
实
earth
地，
and Project Sigma
圣痕
sounds
虚无缥
far-fetched,
缈，
but you're actually
但
trying
大
to
家
solve
最
the
终要解
same
决的问
problem.
题其实完全一致。哦，
Ah, if you
如
find
果
it
觉
too
得刚才的这种说
metaphorical,
法比
we
喻的
can
意味太
approach it
重，
from another angle.
那么我们也可以从另一个角度来看待问题。促成旅
To
行诞
breed
生，
forms
这并
is
非
not
世
the
界蛇的根
fundamental
本目的，
purpose of World Serpent. It's
它只
only
是
a
一
life
种适
form
合跨越
suitable
中
to
烟的
go
生命
beyond
形式，
finality and
借以
carry
承
on
载
human
过去由人类
civilization.
创造的文明。你的
You
意
mean
思
World
是，
Serpent hasn't found a
世界上根本没
way
有
for
找到
common
让
people
普
to
通
go
人可以直
beyond
接跨越中
finality
烟的
at
方
all?
法？你可
You
以
can
这么
say
理
that.
解。
After
毕
all,
竟，
we could
如果我们连那
accomplish
一点也能
that.
做到，大家
If
又
we
为
could
什么会
accomplish
齐聚
that,
这
why
荒
would
凉的
we
月球，
gather here
为
on
了
the
各
bare
自不
moon
同
and
的
fight
正
each
义
other
而
for
厮杀
their
不
own
已呢？
justice?
从颠覆人
In
类
terms of
毁灭生活的角
overthrowing
度来说，
humanity and
你们
destroying
和中原
lives,
之律者
you're no
并无
different
区别。
from the Herrscher of finality.
是
From where
啊，
you stand, I guess
这
so.
不就是立场不同所带来的差异吗？
What's civilization? The passing of years and generations, the flashing by of different faces and similar stories, abstracted into blurry consciousness. Eventually, faces fade away and stories are lost, simply simplified into featureless existence. The argument between you and the world serpent is whether such existence is a representation of humanity or the nature of humanity. We just want our normal lives back. But childhood will end, and adults will take responsibility for the world. Then Project Sigma is a crappy way to be responsible. But it's fair. Have you heard the saying that you can't have both freedom and equity? Freedom and equity are not absolute. We can't accept Project Sigma because it's absolute. This is a technical issue, Brownia, because absolute is the most operable. For example, Project Sigma will not exclude people from civilization simply because they're bad or have done evil. The Sigma will record all ideas created by human history, regardless of their worth. On top of that, if human civilization is good, then the integration brought about by Project Sigma must also be good, even if no one will be able to feel the goodness. Why won't they? Be it humans that were Hershers, 杜永道、李素尚 or me. Everyone can continue with their life in the new world. You only need to patiently wait until Earth is rebuilt by Project Sigma. The only difference is in the new world. Infants will now undergo the overlong process of learning and growing. They will sense everything that is known, namely ideas, perceptions, and wills in your language, via the stigma at birth. To my knowledge, that's what many people seek for a lifetime. People don't grow up overnight. Of course, but that only applies to humans. For life forms built on stigmata, they begin their journey into the unknown on the shoulders of humans. This is also known as ending childhood with civilization.